All right, Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone who rule well. And salutation to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing his word in truth and in sincerity. Now, I just want to say a few words concerning what this remix king, the reprobate Nick, the myth, um, is remixing the scriptures, man. And I just wanted to say a lot of words actually, on his newest remix, that he just put out there on the radio, called "The Strangers in First King to Eighth Chapter on Israelites." You know, and it's very plain to break down, to those who see. And when you actually go through the history, it makes sense that the strangers that was spoke about in First King to Eighth Chapter were Israelites. But according to this guy, you know, if the strangers were Israelites and they weren't Israelites, were not Israelites, and they were able to come and make supplication for the Lord, that means the other nations can make it, man. Which that's completely false. Because the Lord, when I'm going to read Psalms 141st chapter, that the Lord only gave his statutes to Israel, man, and that's it. And his judgment to Jacob. He didn't say the other nations weren't included in there, man, you know? So now he's trying to make the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, out to be a liar. And the Lord is not a liar, man. And he changes not, you know? So you mean to tell me in the book of First Kings, he tells you that strangers are Israelites, and then when you go back into Isaiah 11th chapter, it tells you that his people are, that those people that shall be recovered as a remnant are other nations. Or Romans 9th chapter tells you he hates Esau. But then he's gonna go back in Romans the 16th chapter and tell you that that the Gentiles can be saved, or the other nations can be saved. Come on now, man. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to make Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai to be a liar, man. And the Lord changes not, Now like this fickle myth, this fickle remix king, man. Well, enough about him. Let me get straight to the scriptures, because I wanted to go right back to Egypt, and show how when we were coming out of Egypt, how there were other nations with us. And you even had some Jake that wanted to stay in Egypt, man, And through that walk, that 40-year walk in the wilderness, you had Jake drop off along the way, and settle down somewhere else along the way, because Jake gets stubborn, Jake, especially old Jake, I'm tired of walking. My feet hurt, This is Exodus chapter 12, verse 37. It says, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men beside children. So you had 600,000 men on foot. Then you had women and children, man. That's a lot of people, That's a lot of people, man. That's almost the size of shit. That's almost the size of Milwaukee, I think Milwaukee is about 500,000 people, That's a medium city, man, in America, So you got all these people walking around the wilderness for 40 years. You mean to tell me that Jake didn't drop off? Or other Nate. Oh, and mind you, verse 38, and a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. So you have a whole city of people, which embody a nation, plus cattle. You got children, you got women, you have other nations with them, man. Where do you think that multitude came from? It says a mixed multitude. So you had other nations from Egypt fleeing as well, man, and coming with us. Because if I was an Assyrian, and I wasn't living in Egypt at that time, and living in Ramses, and I seen all the things that Yahweh, the power of the Israelites, was doing to Egypt. Shit, I'm going with them. They got the power. I'm going with them. So you think those other nations weren't popping Jake women, man? You think Jake men weren't popping other nations women on the way through the wilderness, man? Come on now. And as we know, the seed goes through the father, So through those seeds, you have other Israelites that look like the other nations, man. That look like foreigners, man. When they're really Israelites. That's why they're called strangers, because along the way they lost the customs, man. But let me keep going because I'm going off on a tangent. Verse 39 says, "And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thirst out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years." Now, when you're in captivity for 430 years, as we know, because we were in captivity here in America for almost 600 years, man, you have other nations that creep in, especially women, and that creep in, and Jake lay with the women, man, and that those seeds are born, and through the years they discontinue from their heritage, man. Jeremiah 17:4. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt, you know. So all of Israel, we left Egypt, but we left Egypt with other nations as well, man. You know, and that brings me to the next point, which is the First Kings, the 8th chapter, man, in the 41st verse, which this guy butchered. This is First Kings 8:41. Moreover, concerning a stranger. Now let's go into this word stranger real quick. Now the word stranger is nakar, Slakia, nakaria, which is foreign, alien, foreigner, unknown, unfamiliar, you know, because those Israelites that weren't keeping the customs, when they came back, to the congregation, they were strange. They were unknown. Like, man, I don't know you. Where are you from? Oh man, I'm an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? I was just over there in the land of the Medes for 30 years, because my father, he laid down with the Midianite woman, and we ended up staying, living where she was at, man. How many Jakes follow their woman every damn where, man? The woman moves to Atlanta, Georgia, and they move down with their woman, man. Or move down there with their family. Come on now. You want to talk about context? Well, keep it in the context of your people, man. But then again, you don't even know your own people because you don't believe in the chart. You know. Matter of fact, since we're going in on this word alien here, let me get Ephesians 2. Typing everything in capital letters, like it. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19. Matter of fact, let's see. We start at 11. Ephesians 2 and 11 says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh," let's go in this word Gentile, which is the word ethnos.
For ethnos. Ethnos.
Which word ethnos, which means, let's see, a tribe, nation, people group in the Old Testament, foreign nations. Not worshiping the true God, pagans. Now you notice it said foreign nations, right? Not worshiping the true God. When we go back into to the Hebrew Nakar in that 1 Kings 8:41, it says foreign, alien, unknown, unfamiliar. Which is figurative. Figure of speech. You know. Okay. It says, "Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision," meaning, you're not of Israel, man. By those called the circumcision, those who had the covenants in the promises, man. Those who are keeping the customs of the law. In the flesh made by hands, that at that time you were without Yahushai, being aliens. There's that word alien. So that's another key word that's in the definition, man. Back here in 1 Kings 8. Alien. Being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Now let's go into that word commonwealth. Since you like to go into words so much, man.
Strong's G 4174. Politeia. Politeia.
An administration of civil affairs, a state of commonwealth, citizenship, the rights of a citizen. So we were strangers from the commonwealth of Israel, man. You know, meaning we weren't citizens of Israel. We didn't live in Israel. We didn't have the customs of Israel, man. It says back in Ephesians 2:12, it says, "And strangers from the covenants of promise." Which are the commandments, man. Having no hope, in the kingdom, Slakia, having no hope, and without the Most High in the world. So that's what the word stranger meant, man. A stranger that doesn't have the covenants, that doesn't that isn't keeping the law, statutes, commandments. Uh, uh that's not that's not a soul that hasn't clung to his people, man, who has no hope and without the Most High Yahweh in the world. That's what a stranger is, man. So now that we have this understanding, let's go back to this First Kings, the 8th chapter, man. It says, moreover, 1 Kings 8:41, moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people, remember, a stranger from the commonwealth of Israel, a stranger that is not thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. Now, for one, you're not going to have another nation come out of a far country for Yahweh Bashim Shai's sake, man. That's number one. Because the scriptures say the sheep hear my voice. The other nations aren't the sheep, man. Those are the wolves. For they shall hear of thy great name. Now, of course, everyone in the world shall hear the great name, and everyone's gonna, want to know what the people look like and this and that, right? But not everyone is going to cleave onto the people like they're their own. That's only going to happen in Israel, man. And of thy strong hand and of thy stretched out arm. And that stretched out arm is only stretched out to who? Israel, man. When he shall come and pray towards this house. Now, the other nations ain't going to pray to the Most High, man. Especially not in the name, because his name is dreadful among the heathen. Now, what does this sound like? This sounds like a stranger that doesn't know anything about Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, who what? Finds out he's an Israelite and comes to worship Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and his heritage. Sound familiar? That's what your black ass did when you found out you were an Israelite. That's what we all did when we found out we were Israelites, man. Let's see. It says, hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for. Now, we know that the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, only hears the prayers of Israelites, man. And we've already seen it in Baruch, hear now the prayer of the dead Israelites. We've heard it in Tobit when Raphael said he carries the prayers of the Israelites to the Father, and various other scriptures where the Lord said, "You, my people, only do I hear," and he can, and the person that this is talking about, the stranger, can only call to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai if he knows the name, And at that time, the other nations were calling Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Al-Shadia, demon-like power, that all people of the earth may know thy name, to fear thee, as do thy people of Israel. And they knew Yahweh by Al-Shadia, man. And that they may know that this house which I have built is called by thy name, which is Yasher Allah. Now I wanted to go into the Assyrian captivity just really quick. It's just a scripture in the Wikipedia article, but I wanted to go into it just to show how easy it is for Israel to get lost in the world, man, and not know who he is. So this is 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. And I'm going to try and get to the point. I'm going to start at the 6th verse. It says, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria, took Samaria and carried away Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan and in the city of the Medes. So this is dealing with the northern kingdom, man, from Ephraim all the way down to Issachar. The same ones that you said aren't part of the 12 tribes, man. Same ones that you said we don't know who the hell they are. They were taken, and they were taken to Assyria, and they were spread out, man, all over Assyria, all over the Assyrian Empire. And you think Jake wasn't laying the seed? Again, you think the other nations weren't having their way with our women? So now you got a mixture of people, but the seed is in Israel. So you're gonna have those who has households or generations has been passed down, man, through the father's line, and who are gonna know that they're Israelites and they're going to come back. Verse 7. For it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. Now you're fearing other gods, man. Now you're worshiping other gods. So now you got Jake worshiping other gods, man. So now they are what? They are strangers. They are aliens. They are foreigners. And walked in the statutes of the heathen. So now they're heathen, man, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel and out of the kings of Israel, which they had made. So now they're heathen, they're strangers, they're unfamiliar, they're unknown, So now you got the strangers, and the reason they were become strangers is because they went to Assyrian captivity and they were taught the ways of the Assyrians, man. Now this is Assyrian captivity in Wikipedia. And I'm only gonna read, this little first paragraph. It says the Israelite diaspora redirects here. The Assyrian captivity or the Assyrian exile is the period in the history of ancient Israel and Judah during which several thousand Israelites of ancient Samaria were resettled as captives in Assyria. The northern kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Neo-Assyrian monarchs Tiglath-Pileser III and Shalmaneser V. The later Assyrian ruler Sargon II and his son and successor Sennacherib were responsible for finishing the 20-year demise of Israel's northern 10-tribe kingdom. So before the kingdom of Israel fell, it took 20 years. And in those 20 years, that's a generation, man. And those 20 years, you had Israelites being taken to and from Israel that were being captured and taken all over Assyria, man, that were becoming strangers, And then in those 20 years, that's a lot of babies being made because, Jake liked to have babies, man, So those babies are going to be brought up as strangers, worshiping other gods. It says, although they did not overtake the southern kingdom, Jerusalem was besieged, but not taken. The tribes forcibly resettled by Assyria later became known as the 10 lost tribes. Now, why are they lost, man? Because they don't know who their shepherd is. According to John, the 10th chapter, they're the lost tribes. And they don't know who they are. When you're lost, you don't know where you are. You know what I'm saying? You don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're at. You're confused. And Jake was in a state of confusion. And we are still in a state of confusion because we're still in exile. We're still in captivity. We were strangers to the commonwealth of Israel, man. And read this Ephesians 2 and 12 again. That at that time ye are without Yahushai, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, a foreigner, an unknown, unfamiliar, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. We were lost, So when you go back into this First Kings, the 8th chapter, the stranger that was talking about coming back and praying, and praying towards the houseman, Those were Israelites that were lost. They got lost in Egypt, because you had to have some Israelites that did not come, because you got some Israelites that are so thick-headed, just like now today, that won't believe the Lord, even though he does miracles, man. You know? Then later on, they see he gets raised up, and then boom, they got the spirit. Okay, now they're teaching Israel, or they coming back to the knowledge of Israel, man. Same thing now, you know. And you were a product of that, Your parents didn't get the truth. You got the truth, and you were a stranger of Israel, and you came over and you became an Israelite, man. But then you defected. This is First Kings 8:44. Because I want to go back. I want to go a little bit more into this and show you what's going on, man. This is First Kings 8:44. It says, "If thy people go out to battle against their enemy, whithersoever thou shalt send them, and shalt pray unto the Lord toward the city which thou hast chosen, and toward the house that I have built for thy name." See, now you got these strangers praying to Yahweh Shem Yahushai for victory over enemies, man. You can only pray if you have the name. You can only say and believe in the name if you're an Israelite. Then hear thou in heaven their prayer and their supplication. And I told you earlier that only Israelites are heard of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and maintain their cause. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not. Now we all know that other nations cannot sin against the Most High because they do not have the laws, statutes, and commandments given to them. This is Psalms 147:1. I'm sorry, 147:19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. That doesn't say Esau. That doesn't say Moab. That doesn't say Ashur. It doesn't say Elam. That doesn't say Ham. That doesn't say Canaan. That doesn't say Mizraim. That says Israel. Verse 20, he hath not dealt so with any nation. So he doesn't deal with the other nations, man. Point blank, period. So you can't say that the strangers in First Kings, the 8th chapter, was talking about other nations, man. That's impossible. The Lord changes not. So I mean he tells you that in First Kings that the other nations were coming over to Israel and worshiping the Lord and being able to come in. But then now you have Psalms 147 that says that he only deals with Israel. That's a God that contradicts himself, man. And the Lord is not a man that he shall lie. It says, he hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So they have known the judgments, man, because the other nations are not about order. They're not about following strict laws and commandments, man. Especially when it comes to telling you what you can and can't eat. Oh Lord, they ain't doing it. They eat all the shrimp and the pig and the crustaceans they want, man. The rats and the and the dogs, bro. Come on, man. You really think Jake gonna live amongst that filth? And we knew who we were back then? Stop it. Stop it. It's back in 1 Kings 8:45. Then hear thou in the supplication. Then hear thou in heaven in their prayer and their supplication and maintain their cause. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver him to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far and near. So now the scripture is saying, okay, these strangers that coming, they come back to worship Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and the ones that are already here worshiping Yahweh Shem Yahushai, if they defect and they sin because they have the laws and statutes commandments that were only given to Israel, you're going to take them into captivity. And guess what? The first captivity, we just came out of captivity in Egypt. Now here's a second captivity, the Assyrian captivity. Then you have the Babylonian captivity. Then you have the Greek/Seleucid Empire captivity. Then you have, I could skip the Medo-Persian Empire, that captivity. Then you have the Roman captivity. Now you have the transatlantic slave trade captivity, which we are still a part of today. And we became strangers again. Verse 47. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, and repent and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captive, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, we have committed wickedness, which that's what the North Kingdom did in the Assyrian Empire. You know, that's why the Lord allowed them to come over on the other side of the world. But according to Nick, it was a land bridge. It's in Africa. They had a river called Asareth. Blah 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 blah. Verse 48. And so return unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto to thee toward their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name. Then hear thou their prayer and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people that have sinned against thee. And the scriptures say that Israel shall be saved with an everlasting salvation. The scriptures say that Israel's affliction has been accomplished. You know, it says, wherein they have transgressed against thee, and give them compassion before them who carried them captives, that they may have compassion on them. For they be thy people and thine inheritance. Now, the Lord's people and inheritance are Israelites, man. So you mean to tell me that the strangers who are other nations are going to be called the Lord's people and the Lord's inheritance? I don't think so. See, when you spew things out of your mouth, it has so many holes in it, bro. Just stop. Just put it down. Just put down the Bible. Just put it down. Keep doing telecommunications laying ground wire, bro. Like like at least that's definite. Like damn. Just stop, man. Just stop. It says, for they be thy people and thine inheritance which thou broughtest forth out of Egypt, from the midst of the furnace of iron, you know? And we're in an iron furnace today, which is the modern day Egypt, man. I got one more scripture and I'm gonna close it out. This is Amos chapter 3. And I start at 1. It says, hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, ye only have I known of all the families of the earth. So Israel is the only family, the only tribe, the only nation that the Lord knows, man. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquities. In verse 3, it says, can two walk together except they be agreed? And that's all I'm gonna stay here, because obviously, you know, there's a separation between those who don't have the spirit and those who have the spirit, man. And it's being made known. And it's being made known, it's being made manifest every day, you know. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Kahalal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone who are well, and salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.